don't fall asleep now. 3K to 5K is where like I said, the racers race. That's where all the work really is done. And that's where somebody like Fendel, if he can have a lead, he runs best when he's out in the open.
It'll be tough to catch him at that point if he's got a lead.
Exactly, and that's his way to run, and I think that's what he's most comfortable doing.
And I think it's a really good point about that spot being the most important point, not just from an individual team, from an individual standpoint, from the team standpoint as well. I think you might see that's kind of where separation is made. Looks like the starter is just about to put the gun up. So Drake, I'm going to turn it over to you at this point.
All right. As he starts to raise his hands. And they are off. So that begins our 2017 Cross Country IHSA State Championship. We've got a lot to talk about here still as we see, 24 teams and a number of individual runners come down this straightaway. Here as they pass us, we'll have a little synopsis.
Yeah, we'll get a quick glimpse at him.
Yeah,
we'll get a quick glimpse at him. You can see really, like we talked about, the pageantry and the colors of the state championship, and these kids. This is the race they dream of running in. So many of them, and here it is.
And Scott, we'll probably apologize now. We know you come to the state meet, for some reason every team wants to change their jerseys. So I apologize now. We're probably going to screw up some of these jerseys, some of these names, but we'll do the absolute best we can.
On the front center of the camera, you can see that Gabe Fendel, it looks like, is wearing the blue over blue. He's in the lead pack, but he is not leading the race at this point. We got that looks
Black
like Edgewood leading, so that might be Haskett leading the race. Actually, that's Fendel in blue over black. This does not look like an insanely crazy first 400 meters to me, Drake, is the way they've gone out.
Yeah, I'm trying to spot the jerseys, trying to make sure I, recognize those caramel jerseys. I see them yellow top, blue bottom.
Penn is out really well. They're one of the checkers up there. So we are off.
And as you mentioned, Haskett, who's familiar with this course, Edgewood no more than an hour from here in Terre Haute, out well early with Fendel.
And we are hoping too, so you guys, spectators know, we are hoping that after each K, there might be a scroll up on the screen of the top 20 individuals and the teams at that point. Just a real heads up here, though, that the team scores will be constantly changing as second runners, third runners, fourth runners, and fifth runners from each team file through.
Yeah.
So we're 2 minutes in. Kind of talk about, this is where you were mentioning before, this is kind of where the racing almost really begins.
Yeah, this first K, I mean, you're on pure adrenaline at this point. I've been out, we've seen guys out in that first K between 2:30 and 2:40 before. It's not super hard to do, and you don't realize just how fast you're going out at that time, but it'll start here real quickly. Looks like Fendel has taken the lead with Hawker right behind him now, and Edgewood's Austin Haskett there in third as they come through the K marker.
Yep.
Looks like they were just under.
We're coming up to it here. We're about 2:47. So it's not too fast for this first K compared to what we thought it might be. 2:51, 2:52 at the K.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable, really.
Especially when you consider that last 200 or 300 meters of that K is downhill. So,
yeah.
So Fendel reining it in a little bit. That might help him out later on today.
So again, Fendel moving up early. He's got about a 5-meter gap on Hawker, and Haskett still in third.
So this is exactly, folks, as you're watching the screen, what Drake was talking about would happen possibly right in that first 2 or 3 minutes. Fendel had, it's somebody right in his back pocket. Now that we're approaching the mile marker here in the next probably minute and a half, not even, Gabe has started to open up a little lead.
Yeah, it's up to, probably 10 meters now. And it's interesting, what are these guys thinking? Are these guys thinking I'm racing for second, or is this their strategy to try to win the race? Because if you let Fendel get too big a gap, he's not coming back.
Yeah, I think that Hawker is the one who has had the most experience racing against Gabe. And at the regional, Gabe got out to an early lead, much like this one, and Hawker just kind of gradually reeled him in. So I don't think this lead right here would be intimidating to Cole and some other guys who have been thinking about winning a state championship. I think that they would not look at this like, oh, we're out of it yet. No way.
That might be our best camera view
about
behind us.
4 minutes and 15 seconds into the race here. This is where you'd probably expect, the team race also to begin as well, with teams starting to move up through that. You can just see the giant pack through the spectators out there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's a lot of panic going through the pack right now. There's a bunch of kids who are thinking, what did I just do? I'm out in 20th place and I belong in 50th place, and there's a lot of kids in 150th place that should be in 40th place.
Yeah, that's a good point. And those kids have got to make those adjustments now, because this race is going to go by pretty quickly. Well, we are probably well past the mile marker now. It's difficult to see on our screen exactly what's going on up front in that race. It does look like Gabe still has about that 10-meter lead is what it looked like as they came through in an opening out there. Actually, if anything, it looks like that gap has been cut down a little bit. From our angle, it's tough to tell who that is in second place. It looks like maybe a black jersey.
Yeah, it looks like a newer runner now moving up into second. Can't tell from our vantage point. We don't have a gator cam yet, so I apologize for that.
And this is where kind of that grind begins on the course, right? So they're coming up past the 2K, and really, as Drake was telling us in our preview for this race, from 2K to 3,200, it is a long grind. Maybe like 2,400 to 3,200. It is a long grind in this race, and that kind of will separate out a lot.
Yeah.
We are headed to that time period right now.
As you can see, I'm past 2K now. It looks like that pack is really come up, and it's really anybody's race at this point. There's no gap at all between Fendel and everybody else.
You can see up on the screen there, we can't really tell names on our screen, but you guys can see through who that top 20 is as time scroll through. And that pack looks like they've caught up. I'll tell you, you're exactly right, Drake.
Yeah, I see, I still see Edgewood's Austin Haskett up there. He's got the red hat on. I still see Hawker up there, as we expected. Looks like a yellow jersey, possibly Colin Murphy, a Carmel. Right there with Fendel.
It's a big pack. I mean, for this, we're already almost 7 minutes in, and there probably looks like maybe 6, 8 guys in that lead pack.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I would say,
say
around 8.
Yeah.
And then
Fendel is at the point of that pack, and they're making this big sweeping turn now. We're essentially coming to the halfway point of the race right at this point. As they come around this turn,
I can see the. I think I saw just a glimpse of the 2K. I don't know if it was 2K or 1K result.
It was probably 2K.
And Fishers was actually in the lead.
Interesting. They like to get out hard, so that does not surprise me.
And I think Carmel and Cathedral right there, second and third. So
we have turned past the halfway point of the course here, folks. So we're only about 7, 8 minutes from knowing who our 2017 individual state champion is going to be, and it's Fendel who's kind of opening up again. Drake, what do you think there?
Yeah,
is that what I'm seeing?
It looks like his strategy might have been to take that first hairpin turn, past 2K and start to push up this hill.
He is opening it up hard right now. He is flying. You're right. It looks like maybe they talked about the strategy of working the toughest part of the course maybe as the spot to open it up, because just 30 seconds ago we were talking about how it was a big pack, and now it's back up to, what would you say, how big a cushion do you say he has right now?
At least 15, 20 meters.
Yeah, it looks that way too.
And,
to me.
Second place, we talked about, maybe that dark colored jersey. Looks like compression socks. I don't know who it is from our vantage point.
And that gap is continuing to open up here. Gabe Fendel is putting the hammer down here at the 8-minute mark in this race.
Yeah, in second place now, moving up in the red jersey. Was the same athlete who we saw get out hard here in the front.
This is an interesting strategy from Gabe Fendel, Shelbyville semi-state champion, 1600 state champion last year in track. He has decided at the toughest spot on the course to try to really open up that lead, and as of right now, it's working.
And that's a tough way to run, to basically challenge everybody and say this is going to be my spot. I'm going to take the race right here. When you're fighting your body, now you're fighting, the other runners in the race as well.
And you mentioned that this is the spot now where it's kind of all about guts, and he's going to have to really show them right here.
Well, and the thing I always like to tell myself, like you said, we're 9 minutes into this race. There's 6 minutes left racing. You know, when you're at this point, you have to put out of your head, you know, how long you have to go. You say, I got to give everything I got for 6 minutes. And, you know,
And they've trained for those 6 minutes. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So
as it looks like individual results are coming up here at the 3K. Still hard to tell. Looks like that might be Matthew Shadler in second of.
Shadler from Evansville.
I don't want to misspeak.
So the lead carts have just come up back on top that hill past the 2-mile marker. Folks, we are at 10:10 into the race. So as Drake just mentioned, we are probably less than 5 minutes from finding out who our state champion individual will be, and probably less than 6 minutes from finding out who our state championship team will be in this boys race. Looks like we have a good crowd out here today.
As we expect, crowds always show out here in Terre Haute.
Lining the fence, 10:30 into the race.
Looks like Hawker's back in about 8th, you know, right at the end of that chase pack behind Fendel. So, you know, hard to tell if that's a strategy or if he's struggling right now.
We're going to get a much better glimpse of the field now as they come around the edge here. Right at about the 11-minute mark coming up in the race. It looks like Fendel's got about maybe a 5-6 second lead. Yeah, it looks like a 5-second lead here. Fendel's charging down the hill. We got it looks like a red jersey in second. That is Stidham in third. I'm pretty sure.
And Hawker now moving into 5th. Haskett still in 7th.
Do not see a Carmel runner in the top 10, but it looks like somebody's moving up real well for Carmel there into that next pack. About to move into that second pack.
You've got 2 Westview runners that they're in
that
looks
second
like
pack,
8th
yes.
and 11th.
Yes.
8th and 11th or 8th and 12th. Carmel there in that second pack.
Look, there's 2 runners it looks like in that pack. It might only be 1. There's 2 in gold over blue, which is the Carmel colors. So here we go. We've got a great view right now as we're heading up towards the 4-kilometer marker. That chase pack is catching up with Gabe Fendel. He had a 6-second lead about 35, 40 seconds ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a big pack. You know, 6 guys right there. Who's got...
That gap has been cut by 2 seconds, Drake. This is going to be an exciting last kilometer. 12:14 with 1K to go.
And it looks like there's 7 runners still in this race.
Can
here
he
with
do
about
it?
A 3-second gap.
Can he do it? This elusive state championship in cross country for Gabe Fendel. He's run a real gutsy race so far. As you can see, that's Gabe Fendel in your picture right now.
Still holding true.
He's looking strong still. Form hasn't really broken down at all. Almost looks as if maybe he's opened that lead back up again. We're coming up on the 13-minute mark.
Yeah, you're right. That was Stidham there in 3rd, and then in 6th, Caleb
Who's in
Futter as
second,
well.
does it say? Is
I
it
still
Shad?
cannot tell who that is.
We're doing our best here, folks. We're past the 13-minute mark. We are now under probably 2 minutes till we'll get a state champion individually.
Carmel's #1 runner was in 14th there at the 4K, and then they had, and that was Keelan Grant, and then in 16th was Colin Murphy.
So 2 runners in the top 20 is a good start. It may not be exactly what Carmel was hoping for at the 4K marker, but that's still going to be a pretty good start on your team scoring.
And it looks like Fendel
has opened it up, so it looked like maybe almost like took a little rest period there for us just to gear up for a big final finish. He's got about 600 meters to go. Whoa, did he open up that lead again?
Yeah, it looks like Hawker just moved back into 2nd. The white jersey there.
That is a really impressive push right there from Gabe Fendel. That is not an easy thing to do.
And they're at the 14-minute mark right now. It's just about 400 meters once they cross the start-finish line here. Or I should say
we should see Gabe Fendel crossing. There he is. 400 meters to go for Gabe.
14-14 with 400 to go there for Gabe.
Gabe Fendel flying up the finish line here, finish line area, looking strong.
And Hocker is in second.
Gabe Fendel is less than a minute now from winning his first individual state cross-country championship. He's had an incredible career, really, if you think about it, Drake.
Absolutely, and it looks like Stidham it's either Stidham or Futter. They're in third.
They're making one big push here. They're closing the gap. Gabe just took a peek back, which was interesting. That is Hocker. He is coming on strong.
Hocker is giving it everything he has this
Gabe
last 100
Fendel
meters.
charging to the finish line. Hocker, head spinning sideways. It looks like Gabe is going to hold him off. That's going to be Fendel
And Stidham is going to be third.
for the second year in a row. Gabe Fendel.
15-17 unofficially there for Gabe. Hocker second, Stidham in third. Fourth in the blue jersey. Stand by here, we'll give you that.
I think that's Shadler.
Shadler, fifth in red.
That's Futter in sixth. Edgewood Haskett eighth. Ninth Westview.
There's a Westview.
11th Bloomington South.
There's
12th
Ethan Shaw.
Westview. 13th Fort Wayne Carroll. 14th Carmel. Quinn Gallagher 16th. Carmel again in 18th. Is that their number 2?
That's their 2. So Westview's got 2 in. Carmel's got 2 in. West Lafayette's number 1.
Yep.
Fishers has 2 in, I believe, in the gray jerseys.
Yep.
Carmel's
There's Carmel
4,
3-4.
4.
Bloomington South.
Fishers 3.
Carmel just needs to slam the door with a 5th here, it looks
There
like.
it is.
There's their 5th. 16-18.
16-18 for their 5.
Obviously, everything we're talking about is unofficial here, folks.
Another Fishers, 2 more Fishers.
Fishers came ready to run
I
today.
think they've got their 5 in.
Fishers was terrific today, it looks like.
Yeah.
5 guys under 16:30 on this course.
Westview has their 5 in.
And they're under
West
16:40.
Lafayette, I've seen a lot of West Lafayette jerseys. They're
And
running
you know
around.
what? You just mentioned that with Westview. They had those 2 guys in the top 15. So if they already had 5 in, it looks like they had a really strong run. So it looks like overall we're pretty impressed with the way Carmel, Westview, and Fishers all ran here. In no uncertain terms do we think that that is your top 3 teams. But they were noticeable coming into the finish line. Or maybe it was just the striped shorts from Westview, huh?
Well, that definitely caught my eye. Them and West
No,
Lafayette.
they look good. They did. Culmination of 4 years of hard work for the seniors coming in through the line here. As runners come pouring across the line. Now, just like you guys as spectators, we will not get the results in until the awards ceremony. So I know many of you probably watching at home are hoping we're going to be able to give you some final results. We're going to be on pins and needles just like you are watching the webcast here. So stay with us all the way through the awards ceremony. What did you think about the finish time there from the front runners? I think Gabe was around 15:12-ish.
I think, yeah, 15, 17, 15, 18
Was it that?
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a solid time. You know, especially considering they only went out in 251 the first K, 252. He ran his race, different strategy. I think he didn't hammer it right from the start.
It looked almost like he had moments or positions on the course where he had pre-planned surges almost.
And I wouldn't doubt that at all. We saw Hocker move up slow. At one point I said, he might be struggling. He was back in 8th at about 3,500, almost 4K, and then to come up and nearly, steal the race in the last 100 meters, he was only 2-3 seconds behind.
It was really a gutsy run from him as well. It was such an interesting race from